Hello, I'm Michael Dutton, and I want to thank you for joining me in my series, Exploring the Depth of Short Prayers. Today we're going to discuss a prayer from Prayers and Meditation. In my paperback edition, it's on page 236 and numbered 147. CXLVII, 147 in Roman numerals. This is one of the prayers that talks about the name of God specifically. And I'm going to be doing two more right after this one, also focusing on the name of God, because I think this is a very important concept for us to start looking into. I don't know if we'll ever understand it, but it probably is something we should look into. What is the power of the name of God? This is also a healing prayer. Thou art He, O my God, through whose names the sick are healed and the ailing are restored, and the thirsty are given drink and the sore vexed are tranquilized, and the wayward are guided and the abased are exalted, and the poor are enriched, and the ignorant are enlightened, and the gloomy are illumined, and the sorrowful are cheered, and the chilled are warmed, and the downtrodden are raised up. Through thy name, O my God, all created things were stirred up, and the heavens were spread, and the earth was established, and the clouds were raised and made to rain upon the earth. This verily is a token of thy grace unto all thy creatures. I implore thee, therefore, by thy name through which thou didst manifest thy Godhead, and didst exalt thy cause above all creation, and by each of thy most excellent titles and most august attributes, and by all the virtues wherewith thy transcendent and most exalted being is extolled, to send down this night from the clouds of thy mercy the rains of thy healing upon this suckling, whom thou hast related unto thine all-glorious self in the kingdom of creation. Clothe him then, O my God, by thy grace with the robe of well-being and health, and guard him, O my beloved, from every affliction and disorder, and from whatsoever is obnoxious unto thee. Thy might verily is equal to all things. Thou in truth art the most powerful, the self-subsisting. Send down, moreover, upon him, O my God, the good of this world and of the next, and the good of former and latter generations. Thy might and thy wisdom are verily equal unto this. Now, what I want to have stressed in this prayer and in the next two videos that will follow this is the power of God's name. O my God, through whose names the sick are healed and the ailing are restored, and the thirsty are given drink. This is one reason, I think, Baha'u'llah wanted us to recite the greatest name 95 times a day. Just so we would grasp some significance from the power of his name. And the more I delve into this subject, the more I'm convinced there is great power in just the name of God. If you go through the Gospels, especially reading Acts of the Apostles, so I guess that's not the Gospels, but it's still the New Testament, how the sick are raised in the name of Jesus, how Paul and the other apostles, the other disciples of Christ, raised the sick in the name of Jesus. And these are illnesses, lameness, blindness, deafness. These are things that modern medicine has a hard time working on. Just by the name of Jesus, people were cured of these diseases, if we are to believe the stories in the Acts of the Apostles. I don't think we have the same grasp, the same intuition into the power of the name of God that the early disciples of Christ had. I think that's something we all need to work on. I know I do. And, what more can we do with the name of God in our own lives? Forget about healing others. What about healing ourselves from our illnesses, our weaknesses? Can't the name of God help us overcome that one nagging vice that you just can't get rid of? It's worth a try. So, but looking further into the first paragraph of this prayer. Through thy name, O my God, all created things were stirred up, and the heavens were spread, and the earth was established, and the clouds were raised and made to rain upon the earth. Does that mirror the Genesis story? Doesn't that sound like in the beginning there was light? No, I'm sorry, in the beginning, that in the beginning that God created light, and then he created the planets and made the earth a home for mankind. That line does seem to me at least, to mirror the story in Genesis, the first few verses. And then in the second paragraph, we have, I implore thee therefore by thy name, through which that thou didst manifest thy Godhead, and didst exalt thy cause above all creation. So it was by God's name that his cause was exalted. Does that mean it's the Baha'i faith? Or perhaps it is the timeless faith of God, which started probably well before Adam, but as far as we know, it started at Adam and will go on well into the future. Now, right now, we refer to the cause as the Baha'i faith. But what about 4,000 years from now, maybe, let's say 6, just so we're sure, when we have had another manifestation, the cause will have a different name. So it's the progressive revelation that God is talking about here, I think. But is it? I'm not saying what it is, but that's something we might want to look into. And then the last part of this prayer I want to look at is toward the end of the second paragraph. Thy might verily is equal to all things. How often have you seen that in other prayers? Why does Baha'u'llah keep telling us these things? Why does he tell us that God's might is equal to all things? What do we need to know from that? When Baha'u'llah says something once, we should pay attention to it. When he says something twice, we should give it a little more attention. When he says something repeatedly, like thy might verily is equal to all things, that's something we probably need to explore. And that's what I want you to do. Just explore the depth of this prayer. What does it mean to you? Yes, I've told you a little bit about what it means to me. But forget that. What does it mean to you? That's what's important, not what I think. So please, go over this prayer. It's number 147 on page 236 in Prayers and Meditations. I think the hardcover and the paperback versions At least the older versions had the same page numbering. So please look into this prayer. Explore it. See what the name of God can do for you. So next time we're going to be talking about another healing prayer, also invoking the name of God. And we're going to look at that a little more closely too. So thank you for joining me, Michael Dutton, in exploring the depth of short prayers. I hope to see you next time. Thank you. Goodbye.